What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and view us. This guy's going crazy. Also, check our new app, Strength Solutions, if you want a free assessment. Sign up and be here in person with us. YouTube, leave a comment down below. Subscribe, like. StrengthSolutionsPodcast.com. Free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. Email, strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com. If you want us to answer some of your questions. Also, you can reach us at social media, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Okay, dude. The reason I picked this topic is we had a couple of good conversations yesterday about it. Mm-hmm. And there was twice it was brought up that people were like pre-diabetic or pretty close to diabetes and being in a good shape.
Right. Objectively, right?
Objectively, right? Good shape, objectively. But their blood work showed a high A1C. Mm. And the commonality of both was too much stress on the body, too much constant working out, and not enough recovery. Mm. So, for example, the guy in our story, literally had a six-pack, was young, and they were like, oh, I thought I was the best shape of my life. But the blood work said otherwise.
Right.
And then the other one happened just to be a female person, and they were just doing too much as well.
Yep.
And if they would just sleep, recover, maybe lower intensity of working out, that's what would really help you out.
I think it's important to note, too, that both these people are relatively young. Both genders, right? So there's a wide mix. And even though that they looked great or that they look great now, they are still, quote unquote, unhealthy. And I think a lot of people perceive someone who looks physically fit, right? Mm-hmm. Like we said, six pack, maybe snatched waist, right? And all of those things that we sort of think means health can still be a relatively unhealthy person, and vice versa. You can see someone that may objectively look unhealthy and they may have great blood work.
Like your boy.
Yeah. And, where a lot of people don't understand that, I think that we just have a skewed idea of what health is, especially nowadays, where I know we say this all the time, but like social media is out and you see all these people and you're like, man, I want to be like them. I want to look like that. What is their workout routine? How do they eat? Whatever. And you may have no idea, they may be in the most unhealthy point of their life. Even though they look aesthetically pleasing, it doesn't equate to being healthy.
So I want to talk about like what causes this, and what causes this is the stigma in society that you're supposed to be a certain weight. You're supposed to be a certain body fat. This is what's healthy. And honestly, when you look at actual like health and attractiveness, it's not as low as people think, right? The actually being too lean could be actually unhealthy.
Yeah. Being
too heavy. And I feel like this holds true in a lot of fitness and health. Having too many calories versus not enough calories, having too much exercise versus not enough exercise. Your body is trying to stay in a homeostasis and try to stay within this range. And if you push your body just a little bit to get a little bit more effective of a dose, exercising nutritionally to allow you to build muscle, get healthier blood work. But then if you push it too extreme, it's going to throw that all out the window.
Yeah.
And so this is where I think a lot of people need to see a therapist or something that allows them to think more mentally.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been kind of preaching that a little bit more this week, right? Mm-hmm. We just met with one really great, similar ideals and things like that. But a lot of the conversations we were having around, right, is obviously this like health, fitness, the well-being of the individual and the connection between, the physical body and the mind, right? And the undeniable connection. But, I tell a lot of my clients now, if they come in and they're, on that weight loss journey or they're just having any trouble in that sort of area, I'm like, you're going to have to go talk to someone because you and I both know that situations like that tend to run pretty deep, and as personal trainers, we can guide and kind of do that physical part. But if you're not doing the work on the other end, then, we're going to spin our wheels for a long time.
Yeah. And I recently have talked to some people too, is like, maybe the reason you're not losing weight is you're holding on to something in your past. It has nothing to do like you physically can't do it. you mentally can't do it. But also there's this behavioral aspect. So when you are losing weight or you get to a certain point, why are you binging and restricting so hard? Is it because something of your past that you did as a kid, as a child? And that's where this mental end really tends to affect a lot of people.
That's really interesting too, because I mean, I've seen where people will like make progress, and then it just stops, and they start going back, right? And you're constantly doing this kind of like dance over and over and over again. It's like, why every time that we get to this point do you end up failing or just can't succeed or seem to get past that? And yeah, I mean, some people have this like subconscious mental block, that just like doesn't allow them to like succeed or whatever, because I don't know, someone one time, a long time ago told them that, they'll never do it. So now it's just ingrained. And once they start succeeding, they're like, actually, but it's never going to work anyway. And they just say, fuck it,
Yeah. And it's this fear of success sometimes, right?
Fear of success.
All right. And, I saw this video and our thing's weight loss, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, oh, you just need to train weight loss. We do movement quality, but there is a bodybuilder, a former bodybuilder who trains people now. And he had a video saying obesity is going to end in 10 years. Right. And I was like thinking about this with all the drugs that we have, all the GLP-1s or the myostatin inhibitors that they're creating, people are going to physically look the way they want to look. And so it makes me think, like, where is the training space going to go? And I think it's going to go into movement quality. Can you teach people how to move and actually be stronger and be better versus just look a certain way?
Yeah. And I wonder, like you said, we may achieve that physical look that you're looking for, but that doesn't always mean that now all of the maybe health conditions that you had are now gone. Or now you don't have any pain, or now whatever. In fact, I mean, we've seen where people start to lose weight and things start to get uncovered. You do start to maybe have more pain in an area because maybe you lost too much muscle mass, right? And so you need to be able to maintain that as you lose weight. So it might be in a way a good thing, right? Because we can finally move past that sort of like self-esteem, physical look type goal, right? And just start focusing on the health, the longevity, the movement quality and all of those things for people, instead of always having to be like, well, they don't care about that right now because all they want to be is, skinny or whatever. So it may be a good thing, in some ways. But I don't know if 10 years, I feel like that feels kind of fast.
I don't know. A lot of people are losing weight because semaglutide, right? So they may be lean or lost weight, but they're not like muscle bound. And then they take the new one that's going to come out probably in 3 to 5 years. The one where there's a myostatin inhibitor and other stuff to help maintain muscle as you lose weight. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to make you happy. So no. I tell these people this story all the time is I was at my fittest, quote unquote, 8%, 9% body fat. I ran really far. I worked out. I was happy somewhat, but it's not happy like I am today. And it has nothing to do with having that body, but the way you see the world externally around you. And who do you have around you to make that world a lot better for you? And I think too many times people are like, I want to look like that. That person's happy. And I know for a fact, I know fitness influencers and fitness people who look a certain way, who are the most unhappiest people because they have this inner turmoil all the time in their head. I need to look this way. I got to do this and I got to do that. And they're never doing anything for themselves. And like, look, I don't have a 6-pack abs. I'm strong. I like what I do. Maybe I can lean out a little bit. It is what it is, but I'm going to enjoy my time with my family and my kids as they're young versus me stressing like I need to look a certain way and I need to do this. And that's what works for me. Now, if another person can handle that extreme leanness with their kids and make their kids do that and live that lifestyle, that works for them. Right. And at the end of the day, what makes you happy and makes you go towards a goal is what's going to make it a better life for you.
Yeah, you had a good point the other day when we were having a conversation here in the office.
Well, we heard that here, guys. Good point.
And, we were talking about losing weight and maybe trying to pull back and exercise and things like that. And you made a good point. You were like, look, that you have someone at home that loves you, right? Regardless. It doesn't matter the weight that you're at or going to be or were in the past or whatever. These outer things are what make us really happy. And I think that a lot of people are going to find that, once they maybe do take these medications or whatever, and they get to a certain point, they're going to sit there and be like, nothing changed, like maybe I feel better about myself now. Maybe I don't, and they're going to sit there and be like, like this wasn't the solution,
I miss my cakes with my friend. I miss this with my social hour and have alcohol with my friends. And I could tell you, like, I'm a person that cannot handle a low body percent fat and be happy. Like, I have to be within a range where I can work out, enjoy my lifestyle. I can move joint free, pain free. My blood work is good. Someone may need to be a low body percent fat. So they need to and that's the only way they're going to be happy, which is pretty rare. And they'll probably have to meet someone who's just like that because their lifestyle is so harsh. And you got to understand, if I'm constantly carrying around like 9-10% and they're going down, I need a partner who's going to accept that we're going to eat a certain way all week, all the time kind of thing. Obesity and then kids specializing in America. So there's a whole talk of like kids being obese, which you just showed me a kid who deadlifted 315, which was awesome. And it made me think about like this specialization of kids, like just playing one sport. And a lot of people who are actually in the training world would say that's the worst thing you could do to a kid. Is finding the foundation for your kids, because you need to move different directions. And this is why it is believed that Americans, kids and adults that are getting injuries are getting injured at a higher rate because we're specializing at a younger age. And because I'm specializing, let's say, in basketball, so my body's used to moving in this range of motion, I'm not twisting a certain way. So I'm not like a baseball player, like boom, thumping it and twisting. So I don't have that power one direction, and my stability goes off, and that's what leads to injury kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay to maybe like focus on one if that's your main sport or the one you like the most or whatever it is. But it's really important that, especially as children and as we're still growing, to do a majority of things, I mean, oftentimes, my friends were, or I don't know if it's like that anymore, but I remember when I was in school, like, if my friends were playing football on the off season, their coach was like, you have to run track or you have to go do this, to like stay moving in a different way also. Right. So that they don't, like you said, end up specializing in things. But I mean, wasn't there a point in time where a lot of like little league baseball players and stuff like that were getting like pretty major like shoulder and elbow injuries, like
Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
And they changed it, right, to where they couldn't just have someone pitching over and over and over and over, because like maybe they were super good at it, but I mean, if you're burning out at age 15, that's not good.
Yeah, and also there's a study, I think it was in the UK when the Olympics were there. And in the Olympics, those athletes averaged about 6 sports as a kid. Yeah. Even like Usain Bolt played soccer.
Yeah. And these are
like,
the most elite of the elite.
And I think because you built stability and strength in other ranges of motion, it allows you to be better at the range of motion you are in for your set of skills. So if you have kids out there, please do not specialize. This week we were talking about a show that you showed me or told me about in the UK when you went.
Oh yeah.
Called Virgin Island.
Virgin
right?
Island. Yeah.
In America, it's called. Hold on, let me see.
Are You the Right One or something like that?
Are You My First?
Are You My First? Okay.
And so I'm watching that show now, right? But the way you explained the UK version was very like sensitive to these virgins, like idea of sex, and like they talk to therapists and stuff like that. But the American version is very gamified.
It sucks.
And I was like, this is wild. Like it's a freaking game instead of like, you're going to meet somebody and then they take this person away. And then they vote people, they call it the virgin sacrifice. And they're like, I was like, I thought their goal was to find love. And then you're never going to find love if there's people coming in and out. Cause now people are coming in and out, and I've watched like 4 or 5 episodes of it. And, it's like, oh, there's a new, even if you're a virgin, you're a regular person, when there's too many options, right? You're like, oh, I want that one. I want to try that one. I want to try that one. I want to try that one. So you're never focused on just one.
On making a connection with someone.
Yeah. And they're all like, I want a true connection because I'm a virgin and I want to lose my virginity to another virgin who believes in the same things I'm doing. And then like, I know they haven't lost their virginity, but their actions are very like sketchy. Like, let me have a date with this person. Let me have a date with this person. And I'm just like, that's like very like scandalous. You're not like really focusing on like trying to build that connection and trying to just be with that person kind of thing.
I think I want to ask a question, but I'm worried about asking it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. In the UK version, when I was watching it, there was like a group of maybe 10 to 12 people that were on this island, and nobody got voted off. It wasn't like a game or anything like that. You stuck with these people through the story. I would say that these were average looking individuals. Okay. What was it like on the American version?
I would argue the women are a little bit more average looking, but the guys actually some of the guys look really good and fit.
It makes me wonder because, you know, let's not pretend that like visual attractiveness is not a large part of, you know, mating.
I mean, the women look good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I would say if I was to like be out in a pocket out there and say, oh, these guys look way better than these girls.
I wonder if,
well, not all of them. Not all
yeah. But I wonder if that like plays any part into it, where in America, we're so worried about like you said, like they're just like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this over here. And there's too many options and too many choices, and nobody's making any connections with anyone actually. And it like makes me think about, we were just having a conversation earlier about like online dating and things like that, where it's like you go and you're just swiping and there's just everybody all the time, and you're like, maybe this one, maybe that one, maybe not. Yeah, whatever. And I'm sure they do that in other places too, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, America's the only bad place. Like I'm sure they do that in the UK also and stuff. But like, I wonder if that's like a cultural thing, you know, where it's like in America, we're not worried about making any personal connections,
true connections.
You know? Yeah. We're so, you know, we're shifted, you know, with all this stuff. Whereas in the other one, they weren't trying to date each other. That's not what the show was about. It wasn't about them trying to like find each other or who's going to hook up with who.
Yeah, America gamified, right?
Yeah. It was like literally just about each individual's kind of story and them talking to.
And they had therapists there.
They had 3 therapists. Yeah. And I think some of them maybe found some sort of connection, but a lot of them had no interest in each other, you know, and so it's just different. How weird.
It's just interesting watching the show, seeing people saying they want a relationship. And there's a couple in there, like maybe 2 or 3. You could tell there's real intent in like, I want a real relationship. And then there's others that are like playing the game. Right. But they're even playing a game within another game kind of thing, right? Like, oh, I need to keep my options open. I don't want to get voted off. They're playing that game. Or being prideful of, I should be someone's number one. So if I'm not your number one, then I don't want to be you to talk to me.
I wonder if that's
it's a protective mechanism.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. I wonder if it's like a way for them to like never actually be able to find that person, because no one's ever good enough, you know? And I wonder too, if at a certain point it just starts to become a race, like where you're just like, I just need to lose it. You know, there's too much stigma, or you feel too insecure about it, and you stop caring about trying to make a connection. You just start caring about just trying to do it and get it done with.
You know, since we were talking about dating too, there's a Reddit that was talking about like, I got this guy who was a roommate of mine, and he had like the it factor. And so he wrote down a list of like what actually made the it factor kind of thing. What he realized is the guy failed over and over and just had a lot of chances and didn't care if he failed or not. And that's what gave him the it factor. That's why it always seemed like he was an average looking dude who got a lot of women. He
wasn't afraid of rejection.
Yeah. He just kept on going. And I was like, I kind of learned that lesson in my 20s. And this kind of made me think like, oh, like you just,
it's a numbers game.
Guys need to quit thinking like, hey, I need to make this much money. I just need to keep on failing until there's one who really likes me.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are choose. It's a female choice. Let's not deny it.
Yeah.
Women are going to choose who they want to mate with or who they want to be with.
Unless you're like our boy who's getting chased around.
Oh, yeah. Wild one. Speaking men and women, right? You got a question. I was talking about the stigma on men.
Yeah.
About why do older men like younger women?
Okay, yeah, let me give some context to this.
But I know before you go, I told you something here, and I was like, well, why don't they say this?
Yeah, and I think we could say it too, but Okay, so the other day I was playing a video game. And the video game had to do, or I don't know if they have like ages in the game, but you could tell that they're like personified as being like young girls, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I bet a majority of people playing this game are not girls. I'm pretty sure it's dudes, who are like looking at the girls and being like, oh, who's the next hottest one I can like win or play as or talk to or whatever. And Camille was like, what's like the mystique? Like, what's the thing behind a young girl that like guys are always looking for? Because it's a trope at this point, right? Where it's like old dude after young girl, or everybody's trying to get the 20-year-old. That's like the trophy, right? Like, especially as you get older and things like that. And I was like, I don't. It's hard to explain. I don't know what it is, or I don't know what everybody's perspective is on that and stuff like that. But it's funny because, as we were saying, the conversation is never the opposite. It's never like, well, what's the mystique behind a young boy? Like, because, there's that going on too.
There's been a lot of teachers accused of with a young boy.
Yep. Yeah. Or, I mean, you go online and then that's a genre also, and stuff. So I'm like, somebody's looking at it.
Just like the Bonnie Blue podcast I just told you about.
Yes. And so I'm like, it goes both ways, and I don't know if it's just this like primal human thing to be like, oh, this is a young, healthy individual and, they're able to reproduce with or something like that. But I think it's just funny because we often look at it and we're like, guys are sleazy, they just want like a young girl's running around in an outfit.
Yeah. And I always think there's never just one answer. So I think like that's one thing. I think another thing is like as an older person, it could be like, it's so cool for me to be able to educate this person and educate her, or I'm more likely to have power over this individual. Depending where you come from, I can provide and really help this individual and wanted and things like that.
Especially as like men, right? I think I was watching like a TikTok one time where this older lady was talking about guys, and she was like, too many women are quick to stop a man from like mansplaining something, right? It's almost become a toxic trait, right? Where, oh, you ask a guy about a car and they suddenly start going like, oh, well, let me show you, like, let me do this or whatever. And I think women sometimes take that as like a slight on their intelligence, but men just like to teach. And they're sitting there and they want to share their knowledge with you, right? And hey, maybe I can help you, so in the future you don't have to go to someone or whatever. And I think a lot of the times I don't really think guys are trying to like, I don't know, make you feel stupid, about whatever it is. But I think that's
when people feel threatened, either whether a man or a woman, it's because their insecurity when it comes down to it. Like I've had a conversation this morning about like when it comes to like something that's silly and this happens and this girl gets upset that you may have told someone else, it's because something in their past
I see.
has caused them to think this in the future.
And you're like, no, it's just a funny story, like no one cares. Yeah. And that makes sense. But I think that at least I can only speak to like the male side, right? But I'm like, I bet that's why a lot of guys like talking to younger women because, well, number one, they probably just don't know as much. Maybe they are more open to hearing what you have to say, in terms of educating. And that makes as a man feel like, oh, I'm wanted. I'm useful. I'm this person, enjoys me talking to her or educating her or whatever. And I think that may at least be in part some of the mystique behind that,
It's crazy because we train older men, right? And even with the older men we have, they still want to feel wanted and useful to serve their wives and families. And
in fact, a lot of them, like as you get older, like start to feel sort of depressed or sad about it when they can't fulfill those roles anymore. Or maybe they can't, but just maybe not in the same way, right? And it's like, oh, you start to feel a certain way about yourself because you're like, this was like my whole thing, for all my life. And then now suddenly I'm like getting older and I can't really do it as much.
Yeah. And then on the other side, right? So we always talk about women not being educated and studies are not on women and stuff like that. But we also don't talk about how this is where the stigma, everything's about men and study about men. I remember going through my teenage years, and I bring this up to you all the time. But boys, listen to this. There was a teacher in my middle school. I was like, she is so fine. She is so hot. And I remember this day I looked at the yearbook and I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? And nobody tells you as a boy, like your testosterone is going to make you feel and do crazy things. Like,
Yeah.
there were thoughts as a teenager, as a boy. I was like, dude, I would go fuck a girl behind a trash can, and I would do like, I would do this. Like, I would fuck the shit out of this teacher.
Like the worst thoughts.
And like, you know, like this pent up sexual frustration. Just like, I just remember all of this stuff and just thinking in my head, like, fuck, dude. Like, I remember dancing with a girl and like wanting to like just grab her, and like how much boys have to pull back, and you don't give them enough credit that boys do this every day.
And I also,
they don't learn about this.
And I like what you said too, where it's just like, no one talks to you about that, you know, like
just expect to know and man up.
Yeah. Man up. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I don't ever remember having a conversation and being like, hey, you know, when you get to a certain age, you're going to start feeling like this, and you need to make sure to like pull back and control yourself, you know, like, you know, whatever it is. And then in fact, you're shamed when you feel that way, you know, and you're like, oh, you're gross. You shouldn't be acting like that, whatever. And I'm like, shit, man. Like at this point, I'm like a puppet, you know, like I can't even control it. And I'm going through this weird thing, which is weird, right? Because then you think about girls going through like hormonal changes and things like that through their teenage years or young adulthood, and you're like,
now they're taught all about that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's beautiful and it's nice and we're here for you, and you know, like if whatever you need, we'll get it, you know. I just want to make you feel comfortable through this. It's a scary time, you know, blah blah blah. And for guys, it's like, don't be fucking weirdo, you know.
Yeah. And so don't be a weirdo. So like for us at teenage years, they do to women in menopause. So in menopause, they don't tell women like, hey, it's going to go through these stages. It might happen between this and this.
I guess you're right,
more
which
right
is
now,
funny.
Right?
It's a funny juxtaposition because I feel like you're right. Like as you get older, now they're like, hey, taking testosterone's okay. There's clinics here, clinics there. We heard it on the radio the other day where it's like, now it's normalized. So I guess, you know, everybody's at fault.
Yeah, but they also don't teach the man when a woman goes through menopause that she might have different hormone levels. So it's going to change the way she thinks.
Yeah.
And so there's no communication of like what's going on through people's bodies. And so like, as my girls are growing up, my son's growing up, we're really trying to like tell them like, these are things that you got to think about. You're going to feel like this. There's going to be times you have thoughts. It doesn't mean anything. It just means just as long as you don't do an action, you're completely fine. It's about controlling those thoughts. Cause dude, if I went to my teenage brain, bro, and I actually did the things that were my teenage brain, jeez, I'd be in jail.
It's just like, I think these are the things that we don't talk about. Yeah.
Right? Like, how many thoughts went through your head? You sniffed a girl, you're like,
it's like, it's overwhelming. You know, it's like, it's so fast and all the time. And you just like are always thinking about shit. And you're like, and you have no one to talk to about it. Yeah. You know,
I will say exercise helped a lot.
Interesting.
Like sports.
I didn't exercise at all.
That's probably why I didn't help you.
Yep.
Having the aggression of football and all this stuff, like,
which is funny.
I think we're trying to take these sports away from boys, but I think they actually really help.
That's so funny because I was just talking to one of my clients this morning or yesterday morning, and I was telling him, I was like, you know, when I was a kid, I was angry, man. I was an angry little kid, just pissed off all the time. I'd get set off for everything and always mad, and you know, and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's probably because I didn't do shit. You know?
So, dude, it brings me up to a podcast I was listening to and stuff, and she made a point of sex workers should be legal because if you think about like the Gen Z crisis of young boys right now, a lot of them are pent up, sexually frustrated. They're not dating because all the girls in their generations dating millennial men or older. So therefore they're sexually frustrated. This is what the response from a lot of women people. Well, why should that be our problem? Because these men matter more, right? It was so bad in the past where if you had more than one son, they would send after the firstborn son, they would send the other ones to war and explore because they understood pent up sexual frustration. And so this is what this person was saying, like maybe allowing them to have sex when they're 18 with a sex worker who can educate them on how to have sex, not to choke too hard, how to treat a woman would be beneficial to young men. Two, I remember the first time I had sex, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other times people, your confidence actually goes up. You feel more certain in yourself.
You're like, wow, I did it.
And you might not think it's a big deal, but for a lot of guys, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And why do guys have ED? Because they want to perform for a woman in front of them. Right. And I'm talking about at a young age. They want to perform. They want to make sure she feels good.
The performance anxiety.
It's it's so embedded that women naturally fucking fake orgasms because they want the man to feel good about the sex that he's having.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right. So it goes inversely together. And I think a big part of her point is it would allow young men to get that sexual frustration, make better decisions. I mean, you said you were angry and stuff. How much better decisions now that you get laid?
I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows what that
but
feels
Dave
like.
Asprey wants you to retain your ejaculation for a long ass time because it makes you stronger. Like, who gives a fuck? There's like this balance, right? There's like this bro science biohackers like retain. And then you got the people who are like have sex all the time. There's probably a balance for everybody that they need to go in.
Yeah.
Right? Again, just like we talk about nutrition, fitness, everything, balance.
Balance.
Ooh, can you balance on one foot right now? Try it. We'll stop it right here in the podcast. You got to balance it. Balance. And then I guess we'll go over these next two. You're talking about the males. There's no plus size model males.
That was an interesting post. Yeah. Cause someone brought it up and they're like, there's a lot of push and a lot of famous now plus size models and for women, right? But there's I cannot name you one plus size male model at all.
Jason Kelsey.
The football player guy? Is that a football player? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Travis Swift's brother. No, Travis Kelsey's brother. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Is he actually a plus size model?
He's not a plus size model, but a lot of women like him and they love his wife. Like, this is online. They're like, oh, they're so adorable together. But if you just looked at him, he wouldn't get any attention. It's because his personality. Right. And it has nothing to do with the way he looks.
And it's funny just because
Travis got all the attention because of the way he looks.
That's interesting. And people brought up, they're like, I just don't think that there's like an outcry for it. Nobody's asking for a plus size male model. Whereas, women, it's very vocal. At this point, it's like, if you don't have a plus size model, I mean, it's even to the point where like mannequins in stores now are like plus sized, and they don't have that same like sort of standard mannequin shape or whatever. I think like Fenty, one of the like makeup and brands from Rihanna, like I think all their models are like plus sized or like their skin tones are different or they have like, just different visual representation. And I think for guys, it's like, I don't know, maybe number one, we just like don't really care so much about modeling for men. Yeah, maybe it's that. And a lot of the times the thing that's funny.
It's coming though.
The thing that's funny that I find the most interesting, and we talked about this multiple times and just as you see it, it's like big males in society are depicted as being funny, stupid, and like the brunt of the joke, right? If you watch movies, if you watch cartoons, if you watch anything like that is or the lazy depiction. Yeah. They're never depicted as beautiful or strong or anything other than those types of things, right? Whereas with women, that is like the push, right? Where it's like, I'm not going to pretend like they're also depicted as being funny or whatever. Like, I mean, you go watch a movie too, but they also push for them to be beautiful, right? And desirable and all of those things.
I wonder if that has to do more with how we choose mates or a perceived way we choose mates, because it's believed that men just look for looks.
Yeah.
So we have to tell everybody they're beautiful, where they say women look for personality or whatever, which I don't think is true at all, right?
Yeah.
I think there's like, come on, a girl cares how the person is.
Yeah.
You got to be physically attracted to them. I just think it's the stigma, more of the cultural stigma.
Yeah. Because I guess I don't know if people are going to be worried that that's normalized now or whatever. But then you see people online, women too, that are like, oh, the dad bod, is like the most desirable body type for a man, and it's like, okay, well, if you do find it attractive, then I don't know.
I think at the end of the day, we know what's true. Health is what's attractive, right?
Yes.
A good personality, somebody who makes me laugh, somebody who makes me relax, feel safe, be able to have conversations with, who's intellectually at my level or a little bit above or just a little bit below my level, not too far, is kind of what you kind of look at. You look at all these little factors. There's not like one thing, but it's interesting that they've never had a plus size male model. And it's interesting because we expect men to look a certain way, right?
Right.
Where it's not okay for men to expect a woman to look a certain way. And you've seen it like with people in like the red pill movement, they always like, well, you're asking for 6 figures, 6', 6 foot tall, la la. You don't deserve like, you know. And at the end of the day, I would argue everything you see on social media is very shallow, and most women and most men do not think like that.
I'm looking right now.
Are there plus size
at
models?
plus size male models?
Yeah, they're just not famous.
There's some, but I've never heard of these people.
Let me see a picture. Come on, show me.
So here's
show
this guy.
me.
This guy's name is Zach Miko.
I thought you were saying Edgar Allan Poe.
36 years old. Is a model and body positivity influencer who became the first plus size male model for IMG Models Brawn division. Here's my boy.
Oh, he lifts a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell, right? Like he looks
bit.
strong. Like look at this picture. He looks like a strong dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So interesting.
But that's not the plus size I was thinking.
Yeah. And I've also never heard of this man.
Our boy Austin should be a plus size model.
Yeah, I want one of those strongman calendars, man.
Yeah, strongman. Talk to Nick and Austin about that.
Can I just have January, February? Just them two back to back.
The last one, just don't drive while being black. It's from Vermont to Florida.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy got pulled over 18 times.
18 times within like what do you say, like 4 days? 3 days?
4 days,
something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was a black man and his wife was
Asian,
right? He said they got pulled over so many times on the way from, where did you say? Vermont to Florida, right? Yeah. That is absolutely insane.
And he was explaining like your tail light was too dim.
Yeah.
Like the
stupid stuff.
He was getting pulled over. And he was like, how is this possible? I wonder if a lot of these officers assumed that he had this lady and was taking her. She's probably smaller, I'm assuming, right? And he's a black man taking this lady.
Or just the fact that they're interracial.
Interracial, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the South, you don't get a lot of mixture, right? Like,
you don't. Yeah. And you know what I will say that I've been pulled over a little bit more recently? I told you, right?
Yes,
like
you have.
I got pulled over twice within the last month.
Driving while Mexican.
Honestly, yeah. It's funny because, dude, I didn't even think about it. And I was telling Camille earlier, I was like, oh, dude, I got pulled over the other day. You know, she was like, what the hell? What for? And I was like, I don't know. They told me that like I didn't have a front license plate or something like that. And I was like, oh, like I didn't even think about it. She was like, it's because you're brown and you're driving the truck, you know? And I was like, oh shit.
And it looks like a Mexican truck.
Yeah. And the next time I think I got pulled over for like, I don't know, they said I like didn't have my blinker on or some shit like that. And I was like, no, it works. Like I turned it on and I was like, it's clicking, like, you know, and he was like, oh, maybe it was like a short or something like that at that point, but it just didn't turn on when you turned. And I was like, okay.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
wild.
Yeah. And
the second one's very scary. The first one I get.
Yeah. I was like, you know, so I took it over to my dad and I was like, can we make sure these things work? And, you know, we kind of fooled around with them. We were like, it seems okay, you know? And so I was like, I didn't think about what's happening right now, but I'm going to end up in Guantanamo Bay, bro. Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah. Dude, that's wild, dude. Yeah. I've been pulled over for no reason before twice.
You know?
I mean, the guy was like in the country road. Yeah. And, you know, you like go to the shoulder if someone is like comes up right behind you. Yeah. That's what it looked like at night. He came over right behind me and then I like went back into the lane because he didn't pass me up. And then he like gets right behind me again. So I go to the shoulder again. And then he like before his like a jurisdiction ends, he like turns on the lights and is like, sir, you were swerving. Were you drinking at all? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're the one that came right behind me real fast.
You were on my ass.
And then I went to the shoulder so you could pass me up. You're to say I'm swerving? Like, you're just trying to pull me over.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason.
Any reason.
Yeah, dude. All right. So we have 2 studies. The first one talks about how dehydration secretly fuels anxiety and health problems. Not drinking enough water could intensify stress responses. Researchers found that underhydrated individuals had cortisol levels more than 50% higher during stressful situations. Poor hydration didn't make participants feel thirstier, but it did trigger biological signs of strain. Keeping a water bottle handy could manage stress and safeguard health.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm gonna give you like personal examples of myself. You know, there's times where I just sweat a lot, and then I have like caffeine right away, and then boom, anxiety hits.
Yeah.
For no reason. No reason. There is a reason.
Now.
But there's times where I'm like, man, I just need a little water, then my body calms down.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about being thirsty. Don't you feel kind of like, oh God, I need water right now? You know, like you're like freaking out a little bit and like trying to go around.
It's probably a natural response to find water.
Yeah, to get you out of whatever situation you're in at the moment and just be like, I gotta go fucking get this now. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I feel like no matter what, right, it physiologically strains you, right? Like your heart has to pump faster. You know, you're thirsty, you don't think as well, your eyesight's a little foggy, you know, like you're tired, you're doing all, and so like you just get fucking anxious, you know? And I think a lot of the times, you know, I know that there is like the idea of like, oh, well, if you drink soda, that counts as water intake if it doesn't have any calories or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. The part of me is like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but also,
but how much is getting pulled out because I'm getting this?
Yeah.
It's like when you get a bunch of protein, a lot of like water gets pulled out.
Right. Or like fiber or things like that. And it's like, you just need to make sure you're hydrating, you know, and you know, I'm sorry.
Water doesn't hydrate you because it makes you pee more and then it takes away water.
You eat fruit only.
Yeah. Oh my God. This world.
I love it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Just get hydrated. All right. Second study is study finds cannabis improves sleep where other drugs fail. A long-term study following insomnia patients treated with cannabis-based medical products revealed sustained improvements in quality of sleep, mood, and pain management. Over 18 months, most participants reported better rest, less anxiety or depression, while only a small fraction experienced mild side effects such as fatigue or dry mouth.
Dry mouth. What about munchies?
Munchies.
I can speak directly to this. I've done my fair share of,
when it was legal.
You know, playing with recreational drugs and
legal.
Even to
in
this
Colorado
day.
and California, that's it.
You know, I've messed with it and things like that, and it's something that's been a part of my life for a long time. And at this point, it's very rarely that I will indulge in any of that type of stuff. But I do find that shit puts me out. And that is one of the reasons why I do not do it, because it just makes me fucking tired.
That's why you only did in Colorado and California.
Yeah. And so now here's the thing though. This is just anecdotal. This is just me opinionated, but I feel like, yes, it does put me to sleep faster. It's kind of like alcohol. If you drink a lot, like, dude, you lay down and you're going to be like, oh my God, this feels great. And then you're fucking out. But you wake up, and I know people are like, weed doesn't have any hangover. BS. It definitely does. You wake up and you're like, ugh, like shit. Like, I just feel bad.
I wonder if it has to do with the strand.
It definitely does. It does.
Because this is medical, right?
Yeah. And I've definitely experienced it better or worse or whatever. But I always feel like there's some of this, like, the next 2 days, I'm just kind of walking around like what's happening?
Hey,
like,
bro.
yeah, like literally you're just,
where's the hot Cheetos?
You're just like in a little bit of a fog, you know? And it's like, those are things that at this day and age in my, you know, maturity, I'm like, I can't be doing that, you know, like I got to come to work and I got clients and things like that. Like, you know, I can't be half here, half out. And so I don't know. I do think it would help, especially if people like have insomnia and you're just like, I just need to sleep. I can understand that. But otherwise, I'm not sure. I think it just depends on the person and what you're getting.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, thank you guys for listening to us on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a comment down below. Check out our app, Strength Solutions Podcast. Then strengthsolutionspodcast.com. Free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. Strength Solutions Podcast for TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. You can leave us messages there as well. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Deuces. Peace out. Look at that. Look at that.